Okay, well, hi folks. It's Vic Noble here, along with Shirley Hudson. Hey, Shirley.
Hi, Vic.
And we just wanted to make a short video for you to update you on the latest performance of the London closed trade strategy, which just continues to perform incredibly well. We first introduced this strategy back in November of last year. That's 2010. And what we've done is tracked Shirley's actual real-time, non-hypothetical track record. And I'll get Shirley on here in just a minute. But before we do that, I want to make a few points that I think are important. First of all, after 2 years of Shirley trading this setup, this is obviously not a flash in the pan strategy or something that just kind of got sort of lucky for a few months or whatever. You could be just plain lucky for a while. That's possible, but not for 2 years of trading most trading days. Secondly, over this 2 year period, she has consistently maintained an accuracy of over 90%, which I think you'd agree is pretty amazing. Now, you might have heard that high accuracy like this is doomed to failure eventually due to taking big losses or something like that or whatever, but it's just not correct. It would be true if the risks on these trades were huge in order to get 90% accuracy, but that's simply not the case. That's just not the way the strategy works. Obviously, if you're going to have only 30 or 40% accuracy with your trading system, you're going to need rewards that are much bigger than your risks, and that's just fine. There's a lot of really good trading methodologies that are far less than 50% accurate. But this year, Shirley has once again maintained over 90% accuracy, and at the same time, her reward to her initial risk is actually right now, as of yesterday, it sits at 1.14 to 1. And since the beginning of January 2010, it's 1.25 to 1. I'll tell you what, for a 90% accurate system, that is outstanding. In fact, the average loss, this is important, has only been 6 pips per lot. Okay, that's this year, 2011, and similar to last year, it was very small. And yet, the average win has been 19 pips. So don't get muddled up if someone tells you that 90% accuracy is somehow going to, or 90% accuracy is somehow going to be a problem. In the course, we go over the methodology thoroughly, and in the daily updates, we show you the details of any trades and any and all trades that Shirley's taken each day. Valuable information. The other thing that some people may have a misconception about is that after London has closed, then that's pretty much it for the day. Well, that's absolutely not true. And in fact, I mean, this whole strategy is based around the price action that usually happens around the London close. And Shirley came up with this because she lives in the Pacific time zone in North America, and it's the most suitable time for trading for her. So that's why she adapted, everything that she's learned to this. So having said that, I want to bring Shirley on right now and have her talk to you a little bit about it, what it takes, what it takes to get to this level of trading. Because I'll tell you one thing, and this is important. Nobody should expect to take a magic pill and all of a sudden be an expert. Okay, we don't want anybody to be misled or to come into the trading arena with a naive attitude. And listen, this goes for absolutely any system or method of trading. Not just this one, anyone. I don't care whose it is. There's a learning curve. You don't go out and take, one golf lesson and then just par the course the first time you're ever golfed. It doesn't happen. I wish it did. I still can't. I'm not, and I wouldn't even go there. Anyway, Shirley, how you doing?
Hey, Vic, doing great. And thank
Super
you
good.
for showing this,
Yeah.
especially after yesterday, which was a barn burner day, back to the good old volatility.
My gosh. Yesterday, by the way, so was a 182 pip profit, average profit for Shirley on that one day, average per lot. So we'll go over that in a minute. But there's a couple of questions that I think would be really good for people to hear the answers to that I'm going to ask you if you could comment on. First of all, talk about the advantages of the fact that there's of the trading parameters of this strategy.
Well, Vic, the thing that really stood out to me, and of course why I've worked with it as long as I have, is that it's very time dependent. It is a short window, basically the hour and a half before the London close, you start watching,
Mm-hmm.
and you're pretty much done an hour and a half after the London close, unless you're still in a trade that might go on to the New York close, and that
Yeah.
can happen. But it's very time dependent. The actions of the market are more or less predictable. You're trading when news is already out, so you're not likely to be so whipsawed. But we've developed parameters using your noble entry that really do fit this time frame almost to a T. Now you don't get setups every day, nothing does,
Yeah.
But following our parameters, you keep your risk small, and it is just something that you can
Yeah.
almost do like clockwork.
Yeah, and I know, and that's a good point because it is a specific time window, and price does have to have made a certain move before we'll even consider making a trade and all that kind of thing. So, really cool. What do you think are the things that take the most time to master and that would have the biggest impact on someone's trading once they do master them?
Well, there's so many systems, and some of the things I got lost in my first, well, year or two of trying to trade the forex market, I got lost in indicators. And this system uses no indicators. It uses
Yeah,
support and resistance, and it is solely built around support and resistance. If you can draw accurate fibs, and that's something you can learn pretty easily actually, and you can recognize support and resistance. If you can draw a straight line, you can find support and resistance. And the straight line doesn't have to be horizontal or vertical. I mean, you can
yeah,
do trend lines if you wish to. I mean, it's however you see support and resistance. Those
right.
things make the difference. That's all you really need. And then the application of that around the price moves at the London close, given the parameters that we've developed over our experience with this system, should allow you over 20 to 30 trades to find a level of consistency that you can be proud of.
Well, you know what we're going to do here? We're going to go in there. I'm going to show these people an exact example. And yesterday was such a stellar day. I'm going to bring up our next slide here. Just so you guys know, yesterday, April the 12th, Shirley pulled 182 pips, pardon me, out of just the London close. Pretty amazing results. And so I'm just going to show you one of these trades and how it's set up. It was on the Euro-US dollar pair. It just had a 15 pip initial risk. These were the profits that she took out along the way. She had a 4 lot or the equivalent thereof. And so she took her profits at two of them off at 15, 15 pips profit, and then she took another 30 pips profit on one of them and another 50 pips profit on the last one. So she made a total of 110 pips. But we divide that by 4. This is really important. A lot of people will show you a system and say, oh, we made 110 pips today. That's not quite true. If you were only trading on one lot, you sure didn't make 110 pips. Okay, you have to average them, and this is a very, very fair and conservative way to show these things. We say we averaged 27.5 pips on this. Now, actually, there was one more trade. Shirley actually took a second trade on this and made another 10 pips. So the average was actually a little bit higher than this.
37, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So I just want people to know that I'm going to show you the results here a little bit later, and that these are average per lot. They're not total pips. Total pips are much, much higher. Okay, so let's get into the example right here. And one thing too I thought I should say here is that this is a counter trend trading method. It's not a trend trading method, which are fine too. But this works really, really consistently well at London close. So generally speaking, it's a matter of collecting your pips at the end of the London session, and that's it. Not to say that there can't be bigger moves, but that's more the exception than the norm. But doing it this way that Shirley shows you is what gives you such high accuracy and good reward to risk. Let's give up a little sampling here of what happened, and I'll just bring up this chart. Shirley, I'm going to give you control of the mouse, and
okay.
hang on a second here. Not quite yet. Oh, there. Oops, there it is. You just put a.
All right, I will get rid of that line.
Okay, so maybe just walk us through this trade here. I marked
Sure.
on it the 44.95, which is where we expected, the high to go to, and then I put the R2 pivot on there too. But you can maybe walk us through what you did.
Okay. We, of course, have looked for a price to reach a certain level, which it did, and exceeded it. And here's the exceeding of it. And then, of course, we have parameters that are all explained in our webinars in our course. We call this a noble entry.
And Shirley, just one thing, just to make sure, sorry to interrupt you, but that was at a pretty good expected level of resistance up there too.
This was at a clear level of resistance. Just to explain briefly, if you look on the weekly chart, you'll find that it's a clear support level. There's going to be a resistance level.
Yeah.
And on the monthly chart, we had reached a very clear high and had started some negative candle action on the daily.
Right.
And we were looking for this type of a setup. Mm-hmm. Other people were looking for maybe MACD divergence or other types of trades, but we strictly look based on parameters set up around the London close, not taking it as some other type of trade. You may see other patterns at the same time. That's fine. You may even want to take two different trades, one for the London close and one for the other pattern that you see. But in any event, we cover all that in the course. I use limit orders. And had I not used a limit order, I don't think I would have been filled on this spike up here, because my fill was at 1.4510. Okay, right there.
Yeah.
I think it
Awesome.
went over about half a pip or something.
Yeah.
But I was filled and then scaled out on the way down with the parameters that are set up in the course. And you can see the last one actually was taken off down here. I didn't get it clear to the bottom, but I had parameters. And of course,
Well,
we
you
go
better,
into all those. And you can
you
see
better
this.
smarten up.
Yeah, exactly. And then when price came back up, we were still within the London close time period. And this is where I added that 10 pip scalp at the end, because it reached this level again of the same point where I'd scaled out of the first profit target, which funded the trade basically. But all these things are covered in the course. I won't take your time here on those. But in the end, that is a net of 37 pips, two different trades, all taken within the London close time period.
Yeah, pretty cool. So I hope you guys all get that. There's that we have the specific time window we look at, and we have the setup, and this is called the noble entry up in here, and then ways to scale out on the way down, and it just happens over and over and over again. And like I say, it does take time to learn it. Absolutely. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. And like I said, I don't care whose method is. It's just that's the way it is. Anyway, we just want to give a little sampling of what an LCT trade looks like. We call it LCT, London Close Trade. So
and
let's
if I could break in, Vic?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'd like to add that there's a couple of exciting things that'll be coming up too in the future. I know you're going to go into the service next, I think, but come back to me and I want to just say a couple things there about it.
Why don't you just go ahead right now, because that's fine. Yeah, that's good.
Because while we have the chart in front of us, this is another cool thing, I think. Since I'm in the Pacific time zone, the United States, and I have other things to do later on in the day, I limit my trading to a particular few number of hours. But I have been working on a trade that will take me into the London close, and you can see many times we've moved up into or down to a level of that's expected, the ADR or ATR, for whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. So many times there are great setups moving into the London close. Then there are some times when ADR isn't reached, and there are some parameters that I've developed and been working with, which will allow me to scalp even when the ADR isn't reached. But again, they're very specific, and we're developing the results for those now. Yeah. But these will be announced to those who are members of our service, and we will be showing those in future webinars.
Great. I can tell you guys too, by the way, I get to look at all Shirley's results, and not just London close, and they are stellar. Like what you see in her results is only a part of what happens. It's quite amazing, actually. In fact, I'll tell you what we'll do. And let's have a look at the spreadsheet, and just so you guys are updated. This is up right up until yesterday. Don't think there was any trade today. Was there any LCT trades?
There were no LCT trades today. I did take 2 scalps.
Now you see, that's just what we're talking about. There's some other scalps that could be taken, even though it wasn't a by-the-book LCT trade that we teach, and they won't be counted in the spreadsheet.
No, they won't be on the spreadsheet.
And yet, those are just what I'm talking about, the other trades that she takes that are very, very profitable.
For instance, you'll see the gap here. There was nothing shown for the 11th, yet on our results in the service, the daily service, I showed the 2 scalps that were taken there on the 11th. So
that's right.
Even days where pairs didn't reach their average daily range, but there were quality setups, I will show those in the results.
Yeah.
I sometimes show trades that didn't make their range with some nuance or whatever. So we cover a lot of things in the daily service.
Yeah, and that's something new that Shirley's been doing, is starting to show trades that were not necessarily London close trades the way we teach them. However, were good setups, so you can start to learn about other ways to do this. I just wanted to show you this. 92 trades this year, 90%, just over 90% accuracy, and 1,582 pips. Actually, I was just checking it, Shirley. You're actually ahead of last year's gain on a per lot basis. So awesome going. Here's the 6 pip average loss I was telling you about.
Yeah, but remember, I had a grandchild that was born.
No, but I'm looking at an average. I'm averaging it all, so it's good.
Okay, perfect.
Here's 2010, by the way, guys. You can see all the trades, 221 trades. See, 221 trades in 2000 and 2010, and then another 92 trades. There's 313 trades here. So that's what I'm getting at. This is pretty darn impressive. So anyway, there you go. That is, I just wanted to show you that, what's been happening. Here's a link. I'll just show you some guys. Here's a link where you can go and have a look at the course. Okay, and get all the details. And if you haven't heard it already, when you go to this course here, I think there's something that's really important for you to hear. Really, I think anyway. I love doing this. Whenever I check something out, there's a video interview that you can hear. You can listen to it that Shirley and I did. I went down and visited her, and we took a camera and recorded an interview just before this course was released last year. And I think it's great to listen to those things because you can get a better sense of who we are. I've known Shirley now for, I don't know, since 2006, Shirley, I think.
That's right.
And met up with her on several occasions. I mean, she's trying to embarrass you here, but she's an honest person who has worked very, very hard to become extremely successful at this. And the great thing is now is that, I mean, she's willing to share it with everyone. So I think it's just a great opportunity. This link right here is a link to our daily update service. Now, it's on for $27 a month. I'm going to tell you right now that it's probably not going to stay at this because we're going to keep it here for a few more days. We're just talking about this. It's a lot of work. I mean, to put these together every single day is not a trivial matter. And we want it to be right and to show people good information. But right now, I think this is like, for learning this strategy here, I just think it's just an essential part of it all. But anyway, just wanted you to know about that. And then down here, if you have any questions at all or whatever, please contact us. We're happy to help you or answer questions, whatever you like, and get back to you as soon as we can. So that, I believe, is it. Shirley, thanks so much. You're just an inspiration to all of us. You really are.
I'm blushing, Vic, but thank you all, and
Yeah.
I hope we see more people starting to use this incredible system.
Well, listen, again, let us know if you have any questions. Thank you all very much for listening in. We hope to hear from you soon. Take care.